Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of the standard sort of control mages to be taken out. Your things like the Oriana, the Syndras, even the Victors of the
Maybe
world.
that Rakan, like you
usually
mentioned.
get tugged away. Yeah, the Rakan, of course, for Darkness. Darkness just generally loves these kind of engaged supports, but I think the Rakan is the one that really does jump out as the one that's really most prevalent for him. And then, of course, Voice is, while he does have these cheesy picks, then he can just generally play every sort of 80 carry. Back in the day, even back in like the Sumsog days, we used to see this guy pop off. So he was definitely one of the guys we talked about a lot. Of course, Dio as well. I think nominally a mid laner, so potentially could see something a little bit kooky out of him in terms of those mage bot laners or something like that. But I expect, given that the team is built around cadence, they will keep it standard. There is going to be some of that target away of the kind of more aggressive supports, which probably indicates that we might be looking for a little bit of an Ashe Seraphine type angle for Forever Blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if they do end up going for that Rakan, you have that one less counter down. So it is a little bit of a double-edged sword in that way. We've got Mordekaiser, we've got Viego, going to be banned away first. So definitely targeting this top side for Forever Blessed. We got 2 Chronicles across the board. Two Chronicles, I should say.
Chronicle Squared.
So we'll have to see.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, Chronicle Squared. There we go.
It is Paddy.
Actually Isle of Man
he will call
top.
himself Isle of Man in the client, but we're going to call him Paddy forever. Sorry, man. That's just your name now. We can go with Isle of Man. So the cool thing about this tournament, actually, is we do have the overlay, which means the players can just be called whatever they want to be, regardless of what their name in the client is. So maybe we should just ask Paddy at some point, like, do you want us to call you Isle of Man? He's the guy, I think, he's kind of guy where I think I've literally asked him this question. He says, just call me whatever. It's fine. A lot of players do this. It's really frustrating. Please tell us what you want to be called.
Yeah, pronunciation, everything I want to know.
Yeah, Dire, that's a new one.
Yeah, we got stuck up on that for a while in the LCP, but now we're finally learning. The Varus band going to be added, that Graves as well. We've seen that a fair amount this day, which is a bit interesting because I don't really see it pop up that much. The Gnar ban means potentially some of those top laners like Renekton are online. Love to see.
Yep. We'll see what the angle is. Is Yunara Lulu available? Could go something like a Lulu Jinx in response, of course, if you want to deny away that pairing.
Instant.
We'll see if that is the angle. You also now on the Amphageo's side, just have the ability to go for the Renekton yourself. Certainly works well with the Yunara, building a front line around it. There is that Jinx, and I feel I'm gonna just while we let this draft roll, I'm gonna say I feel really vindicated because I feel like I've been singing the praises of Jinx for years, and we're finally starting to see teams at the professional level over at First Stand find the Jinx button in Game 2. Normally they wait until Game 4 or 5, usually the 5, but no, we're actually getting Jinx early in the draft, and alongside the Lulu works really, really well. And we'll see if Dio is going to be the guy to pilot this one to success, as that's a front line, that's a Bard, and when you've got a mobile Jinx, dropping a Bard ult on their head feels pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, especially when you pair it with the brittle and all that as well. Of that Call of the Forge God can provide a lot to work with. There's the Ambassador once more. No. Probably not going to go into the top lane against an Ornns. Means we'll be running it back in the jungle with the Matriarch of War, and it is 9God playing it. Ari Band to come on through, but Forever Blessed looking to forever stamp their way into playoffs potentially.
Yeah, and this is where draft priority does kind of become a bit of an issue for you, because you've obviously you want to grab that bot lane pairing early on in your first rotation, but support counterpick can be so big, and I'm looking at that setup from Forever Blessed, namely just the Ambassador, and I think that justifies a Poppy. So now you're in a situation where you've got your top lane locked in, you've got your support locked in, so it can only really go into the jungle if that's something the 2 Chronicles wants to play, and I don't necessarily know if that's the case. So now you're going to look at what point and click crowd control can we bring to shut down not just this Ambassador, but also the Jinx. How do we reliably get on top of either of those targets? Heads up, banning of the Vi just makes a whole lot of sense. They've taken away both sides of that combination. So really well navigated draft by Forever Blessed, and just the options for Amphageoys are really not going to be there. I think you have to look at some sort of maybe Oriana combination around Lasser with something that can go in. That's about all you really have.
Yeah, maybe Knockwave could be an option, but that's not great overall. The Wukong here is locked.
Yeah,
which means it will be Mbessa top into Ornn.
Yeah, not the greatest early matchup, but it will eventually get to the point where you've got the Eclipse online, you go Giga Huge, and you just take over team fights. So I don't mind it.
Grasp as well. Start stacking that up.
Yep, yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. You will just get beefy with that Grasp room. Okay.
Clear Pantheon. Wow. A classic combo.
Really standard stuff, actually, from both sides. I really like the Pantheon in terms of finding the backline, but look what you have to get through. It's a Wukong.
They have a lot of shutdown potential, though, across the board here. And the Orianna,
they get the Orianna.
With the Wukong, that makes a lot of sense. This is what I was expecting coming into the day. Just some stock standard drafting across the board here. Nothing too crazy overall. Let's let the gameplay decide. Let's let these players duke it out on the Rift after the drafting takes place. So we'll have to see how these teams can go as we head into our third and penultimate game of the night. I'm super excited to get into things, and hopefully we can see this Mbessa pop off in the hands of SK Knight. We'll have to see. Maybe run it back.
SK Knight is going to have the agency, having the Mbessa. Really not a lot of frontline to speak of outside of the Wukong on 9 God, so is potential that if this one gets out of hand, it does get out of hand very, very quickly, especially with a Pantheon, that point-and-click CC, able to shut down the Mbessa and the Jinx if he does find the target. I also don't necessarily mind. I think there's a world where you would have swapped the mid-jungle for both of these teams, and they would have walked away just that little bit happier, but the decision to grab the Talia, I think, is just entirely based on making sure that Wukong and Mbessa can't really play the game as easily. So in that sense, I'm honestly not too concerned about it for either side. And I think this is exactly like you said. It's going to be one of those cases where it's really going to come down to execution. And that's not even a level 2 hit. And we're just burning summoners. But
yeah,
this is going to be the level 2 potentially hit by Voice and Darkness nice and early.
Yeah, pressuring a lot in this early game. Shout out to the Bard. With that Cosmic Binding, has already found a few angles here and there. Burns out the heal across the board there, though. Dio did not use the barrier, so they will have a slight summoner advantage for some potential shenanigans down the line. His Voice just content with farming up for the moment. Got a few CS lead. Might be equalized a little bit. Let's see as that level 2 is now hit across the board here. Junglers just doing their things, nothing crazy like last game.
This is one of those situations where you're kind of really looking to time the crash as the bot lane. Holding that wave just outside, you want to try and crash it just before the jungler crosses into the bot lane, so you have the bouncing wave back. Trying to get like 1 minute time just before they look for that gank, because then the wave does come back to you. Settles in at least the midpoint, which is a decent setup for you, especially when you do have a Pantheon as alongside the Bard really nicely. So could be what they're looking for. That is going to push the wave. So you know what? I think we're just playing it out nice and slowly here on both sides.
Definitely looks like at this point. Now in the top lane, SK Knight does have control of it. So despite some difficulties in lane across the board in this matchup, we'll definitely continue to stack these grass procs. Never mind, hang on a moment. Brittle plus 2 tower shots. Flash going to be committed. Flashes out in trade. Potentially could have held a little bit longer, but didn't really have the mana to work with. So already, I just cast cursed him. Isle of Man gets the advantage in the lane. Going to force out the TP early, you got to imagine. It's going to give two Chronicles some pressure in the bot lane.
Krabby. Really nice. So I think if we're looking to play this one's chill, and we absolutely are, so there's the recalls coming out from actually both sides of the bot lane matchup. So they just wanted to have 2 Chronicles there to shadow. Teleport going to come in from Cadence as well. And now that Flash Blown on SK Knight actually becomes relevant, because now you're probably going to bomb it up topside. That's where your camps are respawning, and 9God knows it. Going to get some vision down and actually catch out the Pantheon before he gets his reset in. So really heads up play, actually keeping SK Knight nice and safe in this top side.
Solid trading as well. That's the beauty I find in the Ornn. You don't need to back, really, other than getting that mana online. That's why I like Ornn jungle so much. But will have a little bit of advantage here. Yeah. I saw Inspired do it, and I was like, I'm just going to copy it and get 60 LP for free in the first day. So I was like, hell yeah.
Copying Inspired is generally a pretty good, good way to do things, I think.
Except if you're at first stand, apparently. Then you copy Skew Mod.
Yeah. I'm a VOD watcher because I'm incredibly busy week. So I'm aware that G2 got a really big victory. I don't know over who yet. I'm like 2 days behind.
Oh no, you don't know?
Yeah, I actually don't know.
You want me to break the news to you, or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, spoilers. Yeah, sure. Hit me. Who'd they beat?
They beat.
Was it Gen G?
FearX 3-0, and then Gen G 3-0.
Oh damn, that's nuts. Yeah, I will be watching that later on. That'll be fun. But obviously I had to catch up with this tournament because I also missed the last day. I had to quickly skim through the VOD. Really crazy games yesterday. I think this trend is continuing in today. These games get messy fast. Chronicles looking for a bit of a gank on towards the bot side. He does have the passive stacked up.
Yeah,
at least draw a flash here.
Gonna land it. That's a big chunk of damage, but a good flash from Steven. We get him out of the way for now, but you take that where you can. Another summoner down. The heal is back up, and that's the beauty of those like short skirmishes early in the lane. Is you can get some priority, and then by the time it really matters, those summoners are back up. Forge God lands one. Look at that damage. Oh, he's so low. He can't get it in time. He doesn't have the mana. He doesn't have the flash available. SK Knight barely living by the skin of his teeth twice in a row now. Blessed. Forever blessed. Apparently, will live to tell the tale once more.
Yeah, really nicely played so far by Patrick the Pirate up in the top lane. As it is a difficult early laning phase for the Ambessa most of the time. There are some matchups where she is a little bit more free to take trades, but this Ornn is not one of them. Ornn base damages are absolutely nuts, although we might have... There's something happening up there.
Nine God does not know about that ward, so he doesn't know that Chronicle knows that he's there. Shockwave, potential.
Crab
not going to commit to it though. Crab secured. They've got some room to work with for a potential early dragon game. A Hextech online would be very, very nice for this composition.
Lysair has been getting largely the better of Cadence thus far in this early laning phase. Every time he steps up, he's been getting flung over some rocks, tumbling and turning as he tries to step up and trade. So well navigated, but both these mid laners are just going to be chilling and farming out, looking for their what will probably be their Archangel staff into maybe Shadow Flame on at least the Orianna. I really like Shadow Flame on Orianna. Any champion that has AP damage and their auto attacks, Shadow Flame feels so good. So definitely makes a lot of sense. We'll see what the Talia goes for. Lots of options. Obviously, can go for things like the Leandries to chop through tanks. Not that there are that many in this game, so could be the more damage focused option of the two. But we have a very chill one. Rylizer, would be another option, especially against something like a Jinx. Makes a lot of sense.
Nice and peaceful.
Very chill early game.
It's a good reprieve from what the last two games have been at this point. Although as I say that though, Grand Starfall is now online. 4-2 Chronicles could land play towards one of these lanes in a moment. The SK Knight continuing just trade back and forth with Isle of Man. Has a tiny bit of a lead here. Only one camp is the difference for that jungle role quest. Don't know the progress of the other ones yet. As Grand Starfall going to be used. On towards Steven, no flash available. Tempered Fade is perfect. The Cosmic Binding lands as well, and they might find the first, but the Cyclone's here. Gonna be found. Chronicle gets it. Flash over the wall, not there in time. The buffer is clean, and now Inara ult. Talia coming on in. Lysair needs to find something. Flashes on in. Dio tries desperately, but Darkness lives to tell the tale. It's 2 for 1, and what an explosive start.
Really nicely played. It was just a matter of two Chronicles just being there that little bit faster, looking for the play. You can see the Wukong was waiting in the wings, but they find this great Cosmic Bard ultimate, forgot the name, and then Chronicles is able to finish off the kill with the Q. Unfortunately, does go down. Bluetooth auto comes through from 9God, and that does spell his demise. It would have been a really clean play otherwise. And then Lysair I'm not sure what this E was trying to achieve, maybe thinking that Nine God would look for some sort of counter engage onto his bot lane. So in that sense, yeah, really well played, but could have potentially gone for the greedy angle as well, and maybe even picked up Nine God at the back end of the play, but Nine God is first out of base, so he's going to get himself this dragon. I don't think there's going to be a response here as the waves are pushed for the side of Dio and Steven, so get that first Drake picked up in exchange for a couple of kills, a little bit of a gold lead to AMP Enjoyers.
Yeah, not really a good position to contest that, as a little bit of poke on towards Darkness to end that off. Maybe potentially looking for a repeat gank down here. It's Chronicle just clearing some vision for the moment. Grand Starfall probably about 40 seconds away from being back online, but Lasser going to take up the jungler's job and gank themselves towards top. Might not even need it. Public execution just to get the flash away, the dash rather, and Lasser finds it regardless, and Isle of Man is rolling this lane.
Lasser has been kind of running the mid lane, and that first rotation, first roam, going to be bearing fruit for him. So they're going to be getting the grubs on the side of Forever Blessed, so a little bit of a bonus for them. Not the strongest of objectives in 2026 compared to, say, last year, but it will be a bit of bonus experience for the Wukong, which will help him get his levels online. He does have that cycling ready, so he's going to hit that breakpoint where he is able to be useful. But so far, 1k gold lead, but AMP Enjoy is really loving what I'm seeing. The proactivity across the map from Lasser, the lane dominance from Isle of Man, and thus far, Voice and Darkness have really kept that bot lane controlled, so they're looking great.
Now we start to see some of those item breakpoints come online as well. Triforce in the works for Nine God on the other side of the Sundered Sky. Going to be incredibly impactful in some of these fights. Might look to even take a camp or two away at this point as Nine God not able to do anything about it. Yeah. Lasser continuing to put up the pressure across the map here. Going to find the first. It's going to be secured for free. Now, what do they really do over the next 3 minutes is the question here.
It is going to be a question. Dragon is 3 minutes away, as is the Herald, so both of those objectives are going to be available, and thus far, at least in the mid lane, Lasser has been winning a lot of these trades.
I don't believe Chronicle was spawned. Grand Starfall is going to come on down. Dio in maybe a little bit of trouble. Really, really nice chompers there by a lot of space. Now Darkness out of position for the moment. Tempered Fate.
Oh, Darkness.
Fires a little bit. No flash available. Could have sensed that Nine God would have gone for it. A bloodless fight across the board, but it was so tense.
Yeah, really tense stuff. Really nicely played by Darkness to get the disengage with the Bard ultimate. So they do manage to get away scot-free despite what was looking like a bit of an awkward exchange in the bot lane. Addy continues to lose plates up in this top side. Even though he's played this lane great, it really has just not amounted to a whole lot. Just it actually is a slight advantage to SK Knight, so will not be walking away with a whole lot. But it is just a very slow-tempered game. It feels like both sides really just have to wait for all of their tools to be available. And primarily, it's going to be that Grand Starfall from 2 Chronicles. And if they don't have that, then they just don't go for a play. And if the play doesn't look good, they just walk away, which is actually more control.
It's a trait that teams I think should learn more of.
Yeah, we don't see it a lot from a lot of teams.
A little bit of vision going to be gained across the map here. SK Knight trying once again to get some plates, get some pressure. Has that role quest now online as well. Practically everyone except for those mid laners and Darkness, who is probably about to get those wards in short order. Like you mentioned, 1 minute left until that dragon. See some vision already set up around the pit. No TP available just yet for either of these top laners. Maybe Isle of Man will have it online. 50 seconds, so we'll have it for the start of the dragon for sure. Have to see how things go though in the setup, as in the mid lane, Cadence could be in a bit of trouble. There's 3 people here. The Shockwave gonna find nothing. But the Cosmic Binding barely hits a fragment of the wall. I need to see that again, see how that happened. as Lasser lives to tell the tale at the end of it all. Going to give them about 30 seconds to get things ready for the Dragon. That's the perfect amount of time they need.
Yeah, recall, get back out on the base. Really nicely played. And here's the engage here. So the shockwave is attempted. And yeah, the bends the bullet on the cosmic binding.
The angle of that wall is really deceptive at times to where the wall actually is, I've found. And Darkness makes perfect use of it. In the bot lane, Voice playing very aggressively here. I love to see it, especially with those little bits of Coco there to back him up.
He does have the, I believe he has the Kraken Slayer online. You can see the enhanced auto attacks coming through, so he's ahead of the Jinx by quite a bit. And that Kraken Slayer, even though Yunara is very much that scaling hyper carry, just gives her so much ability to just take really free trades with, you know, you proc the Q, you get the enhanced attack speed, and you just kind of go crazy on the wave. And if your opponent happens to be standing there, then they will lose a bunch of health. And that Cryo is going to get to this Dragon, so it's a very slow one from AMP Enjoyers. But they are doing the job, and I really love what I'm seeing from this team. It's a shame we didn't get to see them last week, but if this is the brand of League of Legends that they bring, I think they can potentially punch above their weight, because they're not looking for a lot of skill checks. It's just these slow macro moves, you know, using their priority, trying to get numbers advantages and just overload and make it so the opponents can't really necessarily play the game against you.
Yeah, exactly. And even when they need to go aggressive, they hit that button immediately. They're all on the same page. You love to see that level of synergy, as they will give up that Herald, opting instead to gain a little bit extra in the way of that vision control towards bot lane here. Try and accelerate Voice even more. Hex Optics now completed. Grand Starfall in the mid. And we can see now why that Talia Pantheon combo is so lethal, as another kill goes over to Chronicle. 3-1 on this Pantheon, almost heading towards that Black Cleaver already.
Yeah, he is so accelerated in this game. 700 to the good. He is definitely stacking up. He was the first person to get the first jungler to get their item online with the Sundered Sky, so just a lot of extra tankiness coming in from that healing, and that Black Cleaver definitely going to help once Yunara is more relevant in the team fights. And definitely what you want to see from this team is still just that slow advance. They did trade the Herald for it, so that top lane tower could potentially not be long for this world. Could also be a drop in the bot lane to try and get more gold into the Jinx's pocket. She does have the Hex Optics online. The new Jinx build, Hex Optics into Phantom Dancer, and then you go for the IE usually, or potentially one of the armor pen items. It's mathematically correct, apparently. It's goofy looking, but it works, and she does a lot of damage, and she really pops off in team fights.
It looks like Cadence. Oh, they are waiting for any moment to step up and forward here. Both of those Seraphs now are going to be completed. Still a tiny gold lead, so those Fated Ashes as well will provide a little bit of that extra wave clear for Lasser. 2.5 minutes until that Dragon. So just continuing to try and find small leads here and there. Maybe with that ping coming down, they might look for something towards the top lane. Try and relieve a little bit of pressure on Isle of Man, as that's now Masterwork items online. The first one's there. Second one, you imagine, is probably going to be an upgraded Sundered Sky. We'll have to see what the state of the game is in the next few minutes for that.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal, actually, for the side of AMP Enjoyers, because Oriana has actually gone for the lower damage build. She's going for the Theras into the Leandries. Is engaged here by Isle of Man. Just wanted to protect his tower. Does have 2 Chronicles in the wings.
He's going in. Hang on a moment. Call of the Forge God might buy some time. Good flash will get him out in that situation. Chronicle could be in a bit of trouble though. Public Execution is facing the wrong way. Good knock up. And it might just be Isle of Man falling on the sword, but never mind. The flash out is there. That's the extra durability from that Masterwork item really coming into clutch there. They'll take a tower at the very least, but even still, you're happy with that, all things considered.
Yeah, first tower, it is going to be an Ornn, so wait. Nope, Voice, okay, not going to get that one. It's completely fine. But yeah, first tower going down is kind of part of the course for an Ornn versus Ambessa matchup. She's always going to have the pressure in the match, so well done by Isle of Man to hold out as long as he could have. but inevitably the tower does go down, so a little bit of extra gold injected to the pockets at the top and jungle. But now it's going to be a question of where you go next, because this is where I think, to get back to the point, you can play a really slow game here as AMP, because you're going to get those ornaments online. That's going to add countless gold worth of stats. And it won't necessarily matter that the Orianna has gone for this lower damage build, because she's going to get about, 1,000 or so gold worth of bonus stats into either that Leandri's or the Seraph. So that's going to help a lot when it gets to the mid to late game team fights, where you've already got an 80 carry on your side in Voice, who's actually quite accelerated. 1.6k in the lead will get him closer to that Infinity Edge a little bit faster, but if you're looking for some engage, and SK Knight is not going to go for it.
Oh, hang on. Darkness in trouble. They were very far up there. I don't know what led to that, but...
What is he doing there?
They immediately lose both Chronicles and Darkness right before the Dragon. They've got Herald and 5 pushing in towards mid. Maybe this wall can save. It will.
Charge?
Okay, so the charge won't come through at the very least, but still a lot of pressure, and they will probably claim this Dragon in just a moment. I'd need to see that again to figure out how they got into such a terrible situation there. They overextended and got immediately punished for it.
Yeah, we'd love to see if we can pull that up, because really awkward, and it's going to cost them that Dragon. Some plate's going to go over to the side of AMP, so definitely going to help them stay relevant in this game. Is a slight lead in terms of the Drake stacking for Forever Blessed, so that will get them closer towards what will be that that Mountain Soul. And look at the other side. You definitely want to deny Mountain Soul, because there's an Orm, and that's pretty rough.
And they continue to lay siege towards mid here. Isle of Man in a little bit of trouble. Public Execution, though, lands onto Darkness. Goes through the first, goes to the last. That might not have been the situation they were looking for, at the very least. But they push them off. They buy some summoners. They buy some space.
Yeah, I think you're pretty happy with that positive trade of summoners. But here we go. We're going to see it again.
They just dove in.
On the edge of your screen. I don't know what the plan was. Maybe some miscommunication there.
I can see Lysair coming up, but that's still way too early.
And he didn't have ulti, so he couldn't have joined that fight in any great hurry. So just a bit of miscommunication, I think. Maybe Chronicles and Rip Chronicler.
I miss him.
Not Rip. I mean, he's alive, but we miss him on the cast. But yeah, the miscommunication, I think they maybe did not realize how many people were there. So, unfortunate stuff. Engaged by Force.
Look at that damage! Forces the flash. That is the power of this Inara. I almost forgot the name from him. I almost said Mbessa. It's basically the same level of power at this point. Shockwave. Nice Cosmic Binding still lands, and Steven could be in a bit of trouble. Everyone's barely staying alive. Good interrupt mid-air. And now Voice can't go any further lest he face that Wukong. So a lot of summoners burned, but somehow everyone on Forever Blessed lives. Maybe they are Forever Blessed.
Yeah, but it's a positive trade. A nice play by Voice to just find the isolated Jinx, knowing that at this point he is just that little bit stronger. With the Beacon Hunter's Vaults enabled, just is able to just press the ult button and find those 3 guaranteed crits / true damage. So that's always going to give you the upper hand in that short trade at the very least. And they just chase them out and blow a bunch of summoners. And now that Baron is up and available, so now they can kind of start to play that Baron dance. They can have their mid, their top pushed in, sneak in the vision, and then just have someone on the side lanes ready to teleport in as required. And Paddy's teleport is going to be coming up very, very shortly. You can see Lysair has been parked in the bot lane to play against the Mbessa for the time being, because he is the one who does have that teleport. That'll probably be corrected in short order, because Mbessa can just ult on the Thalia's face. You can see she's backing up right now. So it is just going to be all about this Baron next couple of minutes until that dragon spawns in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Nailed it. And that will be the next battlefield, potentially.
Upgraded Kraken Slayer, Hex Optics, and the Fiend Hunter. This Yunara will be a beast in the team fights. It's really going to be the key here for Nine God, for SK Knight, or even Cadence with the ult, to land that onto this Yunara. Get that off the playing field immediately and your job is a lot better. Right. I'll see how things go though. We head in towards the Baron stage of the game here. Upgrades continuing to be on the way. Isle of Man probably reaching 16 soon. So Lysair will have that upgrade to Leandries, because I learned the other day the tier items apparently can't be upgraded.
Oh, I didn't know that. So it's going to have to be the Leandries, and honestly, that's fine. Gets you a little bit of bonus health, and that's the reason why Lysair has gone for that build in the first place. Of course, there's a Wukong, there's an Ambessa. Of course, you're going to need a little bit of extra health, so
hang on.
Go for it. Hang on.
Super Mega Death Rocket. The burn might be enough, and it is. A bit of an overextension from Lysair, and it's punished accordingly. Cadence, there's the shockwave I was talking about, and it finds the first pick.
Yeah, I think Lysair just did not think he was going to die there, and honestly, you can understand it, as the tower is very, very low. Chronicle is going to find himself a Lulu, but that's about all he gets out of that exchange. So, if anything, that just, while it is just that slight gold lead for AMP, this kind of just extends the time that Forever Blessed have to make sure that their Jinx is on an even keel with the Yunara. Same thing with the Orianna. Just it's a little bit of a chill, a little bit of a time to get your bearings, get your summoner spells back, which is going to be very, very important for the carries on Forever Blessed, and make sure you are ready for the next fight. So really well navigated by Cadence to find that pick.
That's the problem we've seen with some of these comps today, is not when they go on for these fights, they're not front to backing like how their comp wants to. And hopefully this time around we'll have to see if they can. There's the upgrade to Leandries coming on in. And every single one of those faster works means that Ornn gets even more of those tank stats. They're going to take this dragon though. There's no contest just yet. And Starfall's a long way away. Polymorph might buy him a little bit of space, but Nine God will get out free. How does the rest of this fight go? They need to look for something to try and make this place somewhat worth it. They invest everything, they get nothing out of it.
Yeah, they kind of just do the worst of both worlds really there for AMP. Lysair's going to wall off the retreat, so that will get them this mid lane tower eventually. It did look a bit touch and go there, because it felt like they were kind of split between contesting dragon and looking for the push, but now they commit to the push. They're going to get this tier 2. I don't know if they can look for any more. They could look to rotate top and try to get this tier 2, or at least try and get some place out of it. Still maintaining that slight gold lead, and I think it's just these little macro moves. Getting people to the right places to farm the gold off the plates has just kept them slightly ahead of the game. And then you have to factor in that Ornn. You know, how many thousands of gold worth of stats will he be providing at the end of the game?
Absolutely. Look at that gold graph. Continues to be a bit of a roller coaster here. The carries though of Lysair and Voice, we haven't actually seen them thrive in a full-on fight at this point, and that's where they're going to be most lethal. When Voice gets to free hit and Dio is in the way. I mean, we saw it in the mid lane earlier. That was a flash burn for almost nothing. Plus 75% of health just gone like that. When it comes around to these team fights, who is really going to stop this damage dealing duo? Spellguard, or rather the Zhonya's mini is online now for Lysair as well, so even more survivability for these carries.
And not available for Cadence, so that might be a big deal in the next fight. And I think the big thing for this game is, we'll potentially have that death cap, which will definitely sting if the shockwave comes through. Really pushing here, looking to overlay. Nine God on the flank.
Get the tower at the very least. Grand Starfall comes in, but it's a little bit mistimed. Maybe they can find the first. Flash comes through. Shockwave as well. Chronicles is in a very bad position. Looking for some damage. The Forge God needs to find something. Lands onto one. The Brittle is there and chunking through them. That's one down for free. They're looking for more. They are hunting. That's a double kill secured for Lysair. They're going to get a Baron right off that.
And there is flash still available to the Bard, the Ornn, and the Taliyah, so I think that's enough with the flashes down on all of their key carries on the side of Forever Blessed that they will not look to contest this Baron. That is going to be a free Baron going over to... I say free, it looked difficult, that fight, to try and navigate, but it was a really nice setup by Darkness with this Tempered Fate to get the stun on the Lulu. No peel available to the team, forced to ultimate herself. Chronicles saved by the Redemption and the Pantheon E, and then they just lay down damage, and everyone is in full retreat. They don't quite get Dio in the fight, which does make it feel a bit sketchy, but the fact that they get this Lulu in the end does mean that they are going to get this Baron. So first real advantage of the game. Every advantage they've had up until this point has felt just that little bit fake, where we're kind of waiting for that one fight that's going to tip the scales back in the favor of Forever Blessed, but they do find it on the side of Amp Enjoyers, and now what can they do with the priority that Baron is going to get them? It looks like it's going to be a 4-1 split with Isle of Man playing that sort of rotation role. As the ultimates come up, they can look for potentially another engage if there's a push too far into the jungle from Forever Blessed.
I believe almost all of those masterworks are online now, except for Chronicles in this situation.
Vandal pipes. Some shiny pipes.
I like it. I like it. Got a bit of a Bard in the bot lane. That makes sense.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it totally makes sense. Why doesn't Bard have bagpipes? It feels very appropriate.
Oh, he's got that little horn thing. I guess that works.
Does he have a skin where he has bagpipes? I feel like he does.
Yeah, the jazz. Oh no, that's the saxophone. But he's got Bard.
Yeah, does he have a bagpipe in that? It feels like he should. Isle of Man. Sure. How long does he live here? Forever.
Forever. It looks like. Yeah.
That's Burn Flash.
What's that? 5k health, 280 armor.
He's pretty big.
Yeah. The only one really going to be dealing damage at this point is this Orianna, who has just been stunned up by the Tempered Fate. Can't flash over the wall because there's a Talia right there for him. They're going to jump it as well. They'll trade 1-for-1 at the end of it all because a little bit out of position there for Voice. Isle of Man in a bit of trouble, but look at that damage. And the Protoplasm Belt as well will mean he lives just a little bit longer. It's 1-for-1. Close out that fight somehow.
And again, it's just these very tempered fights from both sides. I believe
full TP coming in.
It makes sense.
Spark's not looking to end anytime soon. Lasser's here. Isle of Man, big shield on top of it all. Darkness maybe in a bit of a bad position. There's no public execution to work with here. Nara dead for quite a long time. Big chunky damage. SK Knight probably going to go down in just a moment. As two Chronicles forced off. Somehow no one dies there as well.
It's a good trade. I don't know how they get away with it because one side has an 80 carry in Dio and the Yunara is dead for Amp Enjoyers. So it felt like Dio could have just stepped up and hit with basically impunity, but didn't want to maybe put himself in the threat range of two Chronicles, who was, to be fair, pretty occupied, but that is going to be Dragon. That is going to be priority, and that is going to be an equalization, at least a little bit, 2 Dragons for AMP Enjoyers. So the game continues to roll on at a very even pace.
It's all going to be denied. That's that final upgrade onto the formerly Obsidian Cleaver. I think they should bring back those fun names.
The cool names, yeah.
Yeah, I miss them.
What was the Obsidian Cleaver called when you upgraded? I feel like there was
Obsidian Cleaver.
A name for it. Oh, yes,
Black Cleaver,
yeah. It's Black Cleaver and then turns into Obsidian Cleaver. You're totally correct.
I miss Syzygy. Syzygy was my favorite.
That's a fun one to say.
Yeah.
Syzygy.
Yeah.
Although at the wrong time during a cast, that just becomes a mouthful of spit on the microphone.
Never want that, especially now. A very precious microphone. We love your microphone.
Yeah. I need to get a headset, man. If I'm leaning forward, leaning backward, it goes crazy. Darkness is going to get out.
Might be leaning forward a bit too much. Voice. Oh, lives to tell the tale. Super Mega Death Rocket. 7 seconds away. Not able to use that just yet to finish off the kill. Still, good catch. Buys him a lot of space. Healing up a little bit. Isle of Man still here in the front line for now. Good seismic shove finds Night God, and how much further can they go? The Rampage, the call of the Forge God, and onto the backline. Public execution might be able to find something. Voice lives for so long, and now SK Knight trying to find something. A double kill going to be secured. It's a fight on all fronts as Dio trying to take down Lasser, but it won't be enough. It's just 2 left running for the hills, and now Amp full in control after a messy fight.
Yeah, Amp play that really nicely. The flick from Lasser is actually I'm just going to say, Lasser played that really nicely because the rest of the fight was a bit of a mess. I just had my eyes on Lasser hiding out the Jinx on the other side, so he played this incredibly well to isolate the AD carry away from the fight, make sure that she couldn't rejoin, because one reset would have met the end of this fight. Now, SK Knight does find the Yunara, which makes it really awkward, along with Darkness does eventually go down, I believe, in this fight. Yeah, it takes a while, but he does go down.
Yeah.
But
he lands
the big story,
perfect seismic shove as well. It barely catches the edge of the unraveled earth and saves him. So shout out to Lasser for that.
Yeah, and Lasser, I gotta say, I love the guy. He's a really nice dude, but his performances in these competitive tournaments have always been kind of off and on. It feels like he is very much on for this one, so I'm really excited to see this because this is a player I think when he is in form, it can perform very, very well against some of the best mids. So hopefully he keeps it up and has been putting in the hours because he's looking really, really good in this game. It's been a massive carry force for the team. Even when I think the Yunara of Voice has been kind of singled out in a lot of these fights, he's been holding up the brunt of a lot of damage. He's been hitting these incredible flicks. So it's been really good to see. Now, ripping around this Baron, all ultimates will be available. It's just a flash missing from Voice. Dio does not have his, but everyone else, particularly that Wukong, does have the flash available, so got to be careful when you're approaching these choke points with the Wukong.
It's going to be a rough situation. Heading into the next Dragon. Minute 45, Baron is up and available. Continuing to be that sole point, at least for now. And siege towards mid, they're going to take down this tower with ease. Finally, the mid tower goes down. We can see all the crystals crusting up over it.
I think it was now more TP. Crystal than tower.
Oh, hang on. Lasser's going to live. Let's tell the tale.
He's out.
Caden's not going to burn that shockwave to try and stop it. Good Soaz play. Shout out.
Yeah, it is interesting, actually. Just the Yunara build is actually looking like he's going to go for an attempt widow. Wait, they're just all sending.
God, they're just going to dive on in. Dio's in a bit of trouble and immediately just one shot. SK Knight not long for it as well. It's Darkness picking up the double kill because why not? And they're going to turn onto that Baron.
Yeah, reckless behavior by Darkness, and that's going to get themselves the Baron. And they just let it rip. If at first you don't succeed with the Tempered Fate, then go for the Ornhorn. Just send everything at Dio. He's the only target that really matters. Cadence, you can see, has very low mana, so probably was looking for his reset timer, and they just get the Baron number 2 of the game. See what they can do with it. Still holding on in this game, still trying to get themselves towards an advantage in this game. It still feels like this game is so close despite that lead. We're kind of splitting fights. It feels like AMP have gotten the better of most of them, but they just haven't really been able to capitalize in terms of breaking the base open or getting a lot of dragons stacked under their belt. So this game has been very slow-paced.
Where do they go from here is the question. Dragon is going to be conceded completely, and 2 Chronicles doesn't need too much help. The Voice is there, going to give him one. He's going to be secured, and every single one of these just makes this Ornn so much tankier. Call of the Forge God not going to land. Oh, sorry, the Tempered Fate not going to land, but the Call of the Forge God will. Look at the knock-up as well. Dio's in a bit of trouble. Brittle again, so has to back off. Run for the hills. It's Nine God with this GA. Maybe a little bit of survivability, but even still, it is a rough situation here for Forever Blessed. They are losing. They're just bleeding out resources everywhere on the map.
Yeah, and every time they pull the trigger, as long as Alaban is in the front, they just can't do damage to him. Not significantly, not any meaningful damage, so he just gets to stand there, even though that engage, it did take a while for the rest of the members to step up and actually join the fight. He'd barely taken any damage. And this is a Ornn who is level 19, and he does have teleports, so if he does look to play the side lanes like he is now and teleports into the fight, he's going to have that massive shield. He is just going to be straight up unkillable. That dragon is 4 minutes away, as is the Baron.
Nine God has the flank. Public Execution as well. But this Pantheon is so tanky, especially with the Redemption. Isle of Man is just going to walk into 4 and live so incredibly long. Look at the Weaver's Wall as well coming on through. SK Knight not long for the world, and they are fighting for their tournament life here after the FF in week 1. They are back with a vengeance. And they roll over this map. It's just Cadence left standing, and Darkness has been sent to buy a little bit more time. He's got no mana to work with. And immediately, just like that, AMP are going to run down this base. They're going to move up to 1-1, and they are going to stay alive in this group.
They certainly will. Really nicely played. It was slow, it was methodical. Perhaps more slow and methodical than we're really used to from this tournament, especially given the past couple of days, but they do find the win. And I just shout outs to basically everyone in the team, but particularly Lasser, because his performance 7-1-7 on the Talia just was absolutely monstrous. So many of his seismic shoves were instrumental in keeping them in this game. I don't want to say keeping them in this game, just keeping them ahead, making sure that they were always catching out members of the opposing team. And when those shoves came through, there was follow-up damage, they would blow people up. So really well played.
Yeah, Lasser finding the perfect angle in so many of those situations. And not to discredit the rest of the team as well. They all had... I honestly couldn't think of an MVP that game. All of them played incredibly well across the board. But, I mean, if I did have to choose, it probably would be Lasser with all of those shoves.
Yeah.
But,
likewise.
I mean, Isle of Man in that top lane, the utility provided, the fact that he was able to stay ahead, or at least stay neutral in that Mbessa lane was such a benefit to them. And at the end of the day, they get back from that 0-1. They now are in contention for playoffs. We'll have to see how they can do.
Yeah, 100%. Keeping their tournament life alive. Exactly what you want to see from this team after the unfortunate first round forfeit. So hopefully they can keep this level of form up. This was definitely a warm-up game for them. An opponent who you can sort of charitably say these are two teams that are very much evenly matched in terms of the firepower that they're bringing to the tournament. There's a couple of teams where we put them at the top of the table. Your names like Capybara, like Rush Hour 4, all of these teams that we kind of position as the team to beat. These are two of the teams where we're kind of really waiting to see what they can bring. And I'm very impressed by what the AMP Enjoyers brought. I don't know if it's AMP or AMP. AMP Enjoyer doesn't make any sense. What do you think they're actually trying to say there? But I'm impressed with what they brought. It was controlled. It looked good. They did well in lane. And I hope they can keep this up against some of the teams that they're going to be seeing in playoffs if they do manage to get there.
Yeah, they still got one more game to try and claw back in. And we've only got one more game after this quick break that'll come up in a moment. Our final game of the week. So don't go anywhere.